Okay, girls, so let's do our second section for this chapter. So it's going to be dividing a decimal by a multiple of 10. So let's look at an example. If I have 4 and 8/10 divided by 40. Okay, so we're going to do this with eighths of our fractions because it's going to make our life much easier. So the first thing that I'm going to do is change this decimal that I have here into a fraction. How do I do that? So I have 4 and 8/10, therefore I can write 48/10. Why is divided by 10? Because I have a tenth here. Good. Then I'm going to write my second number also as a fraction. So I have 40/1. Good. Now, how do we divide fractions? So remember what we looked at last lesson. So we say stay, change, flip. So we're going to do that. 48 divided by 10 times, I change 1/40. Great. So how can I work this out? So first, remember how I said that I wanted you to write 48 times 1/10 times 40. Okay, another thing that is very important when you're thinking, think about what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to divide a decimal by a number and I want a decimal answer. So if I want a decimal answer, my denominator is more useful if it's in powers of 10, because if it's a tenth, hundredth, thousandths, then I can convert it very easily to a decimal, okay? So look what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say, okay, this is going to be 48, because 48 times 1 is 48, agree, girls? And on the bottom, I'm going to say, okay, it's 4 times 100, because we know that 40 times 10 is 400, but I'm going to separate it in a way. I'm going to write it in two factors. So 4 times 100. Now I can do this simplification here. I know that 48 into 4 goes 12 times. So this one becomes a 12 and this one becomes a 1. Good. Now my answer, I have that this is 12/100. How do we write this as a decimal? I have 12 hundredths, therefore this one has to be written like this, 12 hundredths, and I have finished. Okay, let's do another one. So let's do this one. I'm going to do 19 and 2/10 divided by 6,000. Okay. So again, because it has a lot of zeros, it looks complicated, but if we use fractions, our life is going to be much easier. So the first thing that I do is change the decimal into a fraction. So how do I do that? I write 192 divided by 10. Agree? Because I'm in the tenths. Then I write the second one as a fraction. How do I do that? I say 6,000/1. Fantastic. Then how do we solve this? Stay, change, flip. So stay, 192 divided by 10. Change times flip, 1/1000. 6,000. Perfect. Now, how am I going to write that? That is going to make my life much easier. So I'm going to do 192 on the numerator, and in the bottom I'm going to write in the denominator 6 times, okay, how many zeros do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be times 10,000. Great. Now I have to do 192 divided by 6. Let's do it here. That's easy to do. We have covered this in a previous video. So 3, 18, and then 2. So it's going to be 32. So I have that is 32/10,000. Fantastic. So how do we write this as a decimal? So I have to put here my 0 place and then agree? because this is my tenths, my hundredths, my thousandths, and my 10,000ths. On the other people would like to see it as, okay, I have 4 zeros in the denominator, therefore I have to have 4 zeros in my answer. Okay, so I want you to see how this method makes your life much more easy, and you don't have to be complicated with the zeros if you're multiplying, if you're moving decimal points to the right or to the left. I hope that you find this very clear.